Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, Yasharal, and Yahudah, grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach. We're listening to the prophet Hezekiah. The song is entitled This Hour. Listen, Yahuwah is waking up his sons and his daughters in this hour. Yahuwah is calling us to righteousness. Yahuwah is taking that plant of righteousness, that plant, taking us from that plan of everlasting righteousness, and he's revealing to us his word, his sevenfold doctrine of creation. Yahuwah, I pray right now in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach that you would take the reins of my tongue and the reins of my lips and reign. Yahuwah, I can say nothing, do nothing, speak nothing without your Ruach HaKodesh. Yahuwah, I cannot declare a word without your Ruach HaKodesh. I do not want to be that guy, that man that is a dog that doesn't bark. I do not want to be that man that will not declare your Torah, or that will declare your Torah with his own understanding. Yahuwah, I don't want to be that prophet that went out and prophesied under his own understanding and power. Yahuwah, I want to be that that you have elder, that you have called to declare your Besorah, to cry loud and to spare not. I want to be that servant of Yahuwah that will say what you have given him to say by the Ruach HaKodesh in this hour. Yahuwah, I pray in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach that the word would come forth in power. Yahuwah, I take authority over every evil Ruach, every unclean spirit, every spirit of divination and witchcraft. I come against every spirit of distraction, every hindering spirit, every device and scheme that Hasatan would try to launch against us as we deliver this word. Yahuwah, your word is for those who have an ear to hear, and I pray right now that the blood of Yahushua Hamashiach would be applied, and that these ruachs that are here to distract and to hinder would be brought under the dominion and the subjection of the name of Yahushua Hamashiach and the blood of Yahushua Hamashiach. That they would be limited in what they can do and say and how they can influence. Yahuwah, those that you have called to hear this word. Yahuwah, I pray right now in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, no one stumbles, no one be turned out of the way, that no one comes up lame. Yahuwah, I pray that they would understand the importance of your word. Yahuwah, I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart would be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, I pray in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach that every evil ruach would be subject to the word and the anointing of Yahuwah. In the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, I pray. Yahuwah, I praise you. I magnify you and I glorify you. And I worship you. Hallelujah. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah, we got to be about this, right? We got to be about what Yahuwah has called us to do, right? Now, Yahuwah he has to provide us a method of return, right? Just like in Babylon, right? When Ezra was provided an opportunity and what was necessary to return, right? Because you got to understand that things have to happen. We have to return. The nation, the tribes have to return to the continent. They have to. We cannot remain here. We can't. There is no way that fulfilling prophecy has us staying here in Babylon. No way, shape, or form. No properties, no lands, no none of that. It does not have us here. True Yahudah has to go home to his brethren. You gotta understand the times we're in. You gotta understand the day of Yahuwah. Right? Right? You gotta understand the day of Yahuwah. There's gonna be a day of Yahuwah in Babylon. There's going to be a day of Yahuwah in Babylon. We have to leave Babylon. Yasharal and Yahudah. See, listen, you gotta understand. When you understand that this entire volume of the book all works together, right? You have to understand. You have to take from Genesis and the canonized, and you gotta take from Yasher, and you gotta take from Enoch, and you gotta take from these other books. You have to, in order to understand the manifold doctrine, because it is manifold. See, there's a day of Yahuwah coming to Babylon. There's a day of Yahuwah coming that's going to lead to Yahusha. To lead to Yahusha and the blood being up to the horse's bridle. That day's going to come. There was a day of Yahuwah at the time that Yahuwah destroyed the erects under Noah. That day, that final destruction of everything is yet to come, and it's off. It's not something that is around the corner, though it speaks in reference to being the day of Yahuwah. That day is yet off in the future. Yeah, I know some people going like, you know, y'all sitting up here waiting for, you done got messed up with Christianity and their whole misinterpretation and their whole delusional idea of a rapture and, you know, all of this crazy madness, you you think all of a sudden, the end is here. No! There's a judgment. There's a day of Yahuwah that's coming to Babylon. Oh yeah. He's going to judge this nation. He's going to judge this nation. He's going to judge the nations that took us captive because we have turned. Now listen. You have to understand what Jacob said concerning the children of Israel and what was to happen in the last days. And then you got to understand that the last days began at the time in which Yahushua HaMashiach came, because that was the completion. Now everything after that is the last. It's all the last days. But see, the day of Yahuwah manifests itself when it's necessary to bring a judgment for something. It was necessary for Yahuwah to bring a judgment to the erects, and it was the day of Yahuwah, and it came, and he saved a remnant. He saved a remnant. He saved Noah. when Yahudah delivered the children of Yasharal out of Mitzrayim, that wasn't the day of Yahudah. Yahudah provided a day of judgment for Egypt, Mitzrayim, but that wasn't the day of Yahudah. Listen. The day of Yahudah is not the time in which we leave Babylon. The day of Yahudah will come to Babylon in a judgment that will be the day of Yahudah to them and that nation, this nation. But it's not that day of Yahudah as it was at the time when Noah came. It's not the day of Yahudah as the time it occurred with Noah when everything was destroyed. That day is yet to come. Yeah, that day is yet to come. 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 There's a judgment that's coming to this nation. And to this nation is going to be a day of Yahudah. See, because the day of Yahudah came after the children of Israel received the Torah, and after they lived righteously, and it got to the point where they became so wicked that he had to have a day of Yahudah come and burn down Jerusalem and take everybody in captivity. First activity. That was the day of Yahudah. See, because anytime there's a day of Yahudah comes with judgment. It's a judgment. It's a judgment. Right? It's a judgment. That day did not destroy the whole earth. It destroyed those who were the target of Yahuwah's judgment. And that was the nation. And Yahudah delivered them out of Mitzrayim. Delivered them out of Babylon. Delivered them from the tyranny of Babylon in Persia. Sent them away. Ezra, the cupbearer, was so grieved. What's wrong? He said, my city, my people, What you need? This is what we need to go back home. It's yours. I'm going to write a decree. That's how deliverance took shape from Babylon. Right? He's going to deliver us again. Right? Out of Mitzrayim. Right? See, because we're in Babylon and Mitzrayim. But this deliverance looks more like Babylon. Yes, you was, listen. Who's going to rain judgment down? He's going to send plagues down. He's going to do things. Right? To get us to go. Because we need to go. We need to go. We got to fulfill prophecy. The things that are to occur at the last days. Not the day of Yahudah. Not when he destroys it all. Not when he destroys it all. Because at the end, he's going to destroy everything. That's the day of Yahudah. That's the fierce judgment of Yahudah. That's when they're going to be running the rocks and bunkers, and that's where they're going to be looking for refuge. Right. Now, you know Yahushua's going to already be reigning. Right? It's going to be reigning. We already be on the continent. They still have to come against us on the continent in the last days. And understand this. Hebrew, you gotta understand this. You gotta understand this. Like, listen. Let's look at Enoch. Right. Enoch, the 93rd chapter. Right, the 93rd chapter says this. After that, in the 6th week, all those who are in it shall be darkened. Now, after the 6th week. Now, the 6th week comes after the 5th week. Now, the 5th week, in the 5th week, during its completion, the house of glory and dominion shall be erected forever. Now, that wasn't the physical house. That was Yahushua HaMashiach establishing the kingdom forever. Yahushua HaMashiach establishing the kingdom forever. The completion of the 5th week. The house is established forever. Because, you know, it wasn't the temple and the house that Shlomo established, because that was destroyed. That was torn down. So he was not talking about a physical house. Yahudah doesn't dwell in houses made with hands. He dwells in people. We become the physical house because of the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Because of that branch. We become the house. Yahushua HaMashiach's witness preached. Right? Preached. And preached. It went forth. Right? That Basura, that Torah went forth. Right? It went forth. And listen. And after that, in the 6th week, all those who are in it shall be darkened, and the hearts of all of them shall be forgetful of wisdom. Right? Be forgetful of wisdom. Right? They gonna forget this witness. They gonna forget righteousness through faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. He says, and doing, forget wisdom, and in it shall a man arise and come forth. A man. Who is that man? Right? That man is Rome. That man is Caesar. That is Titus Vespasian, right? He says, a man shall come forth, and during its completion he shall burn the house of dominion. Destruction of Jerusalem. Right? Destruction of Jerusalem. In AD. Right? The destruction of Jerusalem. Right? And he shall burn the house of dominion with fire, and all the race, all the Hebrew race, right? They're of the elect root. Of the elect root. Yahushua says, I am the vine and my father is the husbandman. Yahushua is the vine that's attached to the root. We are the elect root. The elect root was taken into captivity. The elect, the children of Yasharal, the root, were taken into captivity. Only Hebrews in Jerusalem, only those that were in Jerusalem were taken captivity. And dispersed. Right? We know not all of us. Some of them listened to what Yahushua said and they got out because they remembered the sure word that he spoke in reference to when you see Jerusalem compassed about with armies. So the race of the elect root shall be dispersed. Right? So we have the people of Yahuwah dispersed, scattered. He says it in Genesis. He says in Genesis, not Genesis, what am I talking about? He says in Deuteronomy 28, right? Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Right? He says, and Yahuwah shall bring thee into Mitzrayim again with ships. Now this occurred, it's a prophecy, right? But this occurred later, right? But this is indicative of us being scattered. You see, because you got to understand that we were scattered and we continue to be scattered. When Enoch says the elect root shall be dispersed, they will be dispersed, they will be scattered, they will be taken, they will be moved throughout the four corners of the earth. Right? He says here, and Yahuwah shall bring thee again, he shall bring thee into Mitzrayim again with ships. So we understand that the United States of America is a country that is heavily influenced by Egyptian ideology. Their founding fathers, Freemasons, were strongly influenced by Egyptian culture and Egyptian gods and the like. Right? But it's not just, it's in the Freemasonry aspect of this nation, right? But there are symbols that are throughout this United States of America that represents Mitzrayim, right? So we going into Mitzrayim, right? But yet he tells us to come out of Babylon. These are two places that we were well familiar with, because we understood that Babylon, right, was a place of whoredom, a place of idolatry, a place of wickedness, right? We understood that. We understood that. And we understood that Yahuwah delivered us from Babylon. Because Yahuwah moved on the king, and the king made the decree to give us what we needed to go. Yahuwah has some carpenters. Yahuwah. You have to understand. Yasharal and Yahudah, you have to understand. The path is back trying to get you to understand you need to be born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh so that you can go back to this continent, right? Right? You can go back to the land, right? And that you could support your brother. Yeah, I understand. You gotta understand this. You gotta understand when he says, and afterward in the 7th week a perverse generation shall arise. Perverse generation. He says in Ezekiel, Ezekiel 36 and 23, he says, and I will sanctify my great name, which has been profaned amongst the heathen. Right? So the heathen has profaned his name. Right? He says, afterwards, in the 7th week, a perverse generation shall arise. Okay, so let's look at this strong word, profane. What does profane mean? Right? Profane.
Strong's H 2490. Halal.
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 So halal, or profane, halal. This is what Enoch says. A profane, a halal, right? It is to be profane, to be defiled, to pollute, to desecrate, right? Right? And it's a pollution and a defiling sexually and ritualistically. To profane oneself, to defile oneself. Right? 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 To profane oneself, to defile oneself, right? To violate a covenant. It's profane. Christendom got you believe, Catholicism got you believe that this gospel has been preached to the four corners of the earth. Even though it incorporates the rituals of Christmas trees, the rituals of Easter egg hunts. Oh, Yahudah, give your people an ear to hear. Listen! You believe that what you have received from this perverse Catholicism, this morph of Protestantism, this catamite image of this catamite image that's supposed to represent Yahushua, that they have made Iesu and Iesus and now Jesus. They have taken this profane, a pagan idea and spread it across the world. And you got a large part of the world either Catholics, diehard Mary worshiping, the earth being on a cross, right? Hail and Mary, right? Or you got the Christian spawn, right, of these wicked Baphomet Baal worshippers and this earth pig, right, thinking that there is Yeshua in him. This is the perversion of this world. Right? This world is perverse. This world is perverted. Right? This world is perverted. Right? Enoch says the perverse generation shall arise. Right? Right? Perverse generation shall arise, and abundant shall be its deeds. Abundance shall be its deeds. Right? This spawn Catholicism, idolatry. You know, and the Pope, they are the beast. They serve the beast. There is nothing about Catholicism that remotely ascribes to Yahushua HaMashiach and Yahuwah. The translators who translated, right, this book, right, and translated everything Lord and God and Jesus, right, they translated this original Hebraic, Aramaic, they translated this into this Latinist, witchcraft, Greek, a pagan, idolatrous language. You better understand. Yasharal and Yahudah is waking you up. Yahudah has had me to cry loud and to spare not, to lift up my voice like a trumpet in Zion, to tell you, you must be born again of the water and of the Ruach HaKodesh. Why? Why? Why has he been driving this in? Why? Not just, oh, we Hebrews, we need to keep Torah. Oh, we E1B1A, we the people. No! No! Yeah, we the people, but we his people because we've accepted that final sacrifice. We've accepted the fulfillment of Torah. We've accepted the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach and identified with his dying on a cross, recognized that we were wretches, undone, and needing to be cleansed, and received it in emunah. And because we did, Yahuwah has cleansed us up, and he has given us, if we ask, his Ruach HaKodesh. These signs shall follow them to believe. This ain't what you've seen. This is not what you have been witnessing. This is not Joel Osteen. This is not Jerry Savelle. This is not Jesse Duplantis. This is not Kenneth Copeland. This is not Kenneth Hagin. This is not T.D. Fakes. This is not Creflo Steal Your Dollar. This ain't any of those. Listen, you got to understand these people have been groomed. You don't get to where they are unless you bend the knee. They have been groomed. They have been groomed to perpetuate the deception. That's why you can have pornonia, G4202, Strong's Letter, Blue Letter Bible, Concordance, pornonia, illicit sexual intercourse. That's why you can have that. That's why you can have these people who commit fornication, adultery, homosexuality, lesbianism. G4202, look it up. Strong's Blue Letter Concordance. They can continue to have sex with animals. They can continue to have sex with close relationships. Be involved in pedophilia. They can do it because they don't serve Yahusha and Yahuwah. They serve the earth pig and they serve Baal. See, Babylon has to be destroyed. Babylon has to be judged. Babylon has to be judged. She has to be judged. She has to be judged for the wickedness that she's done to the nation. She has to be judged for the wickedness that she has done to the nation. Because see, we recognize that we need to be born again, and Christianity ain't that. And again, I got my family members in Christianity. It ain't that. And if they don't understand that they got to come into this witness and start keeping Torah and obey Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commandments, they're gonna be consumed just like everybody else in this pit of America, this snake pit. You know, somebody said, well, why don't you just leave? And I am. You know, because, you know, I got people that I know that listen to me. And they listen to me and like, well, why don't you just leave? I am. Look, make no mistake about it. I am. And, you know, hopefully taking my wife with me. Hopefully. I'm good. Listen, because I got to do what Judah has been instructed to do. See, this thing is real to me. This thing is as real as the nose on my face. This is real to me. Right. The Ruach of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of him is real to me. This is real. This ain't that. A perverse generation shall arise. Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. The beast has arisen. And it has profaned the entire world. Listen. Who were the minds behind pornography? Who? What nation of people? Look it up. Just look it up. Look at the nation of people who funded and promoted. Right? Look it up. These people have all of these things at their disposal because they consult ruachs. And their goal is to promote evil and perversion throughout the entire world. A perverse generation shall arise, and abundant shall be his deeds. Abundant shall be his deeds. See, Babylon has got to experience the day of you. The whole earth is going to ultimately experience the day of Yahuwah at the battle of Armageddon. See, Judah has to leave Babylon. Judah has to reunite with his brothers on the continent. You know, you got Bruce saying, well, we don't even know where the 12 tribes are on the continent. What does that mean? What does that matter? Right? It's Yahudah's return that is necessary. It's Yahudah's return. And it's not just a return to Ghana. It's return to the continent. Because the tribes are in the continent. You gotta understand prophecy. You gotta understand what you was doing. He says, listen. After it was the 7th week, a perverse generation shall arise, and abundant shall be his deeds. You think about the time that Constantine established himself as the head of the church. When he started making edicts and papal bulls preventing the keeping of the Sabbath on the seventh day. When he made it a law not to worship and celebrate Hebraic feast days. Since then, abundance has been his deeds. Abundance has been his deeds. Abundance has been his deed. And see, because it's a perversion. That's why everything is driven by pornography. The only way you in is if you are in pornography. That's why Yahudah said, listen, you got to be born again of the water and Ruach HaKodesh. You got to get that stuff out. You got to come and get washed. You got to get washed. You got to have the blood of Yahushua applied, and then you got to receive His Ruach HaKodesh, and you got to do it all in Emunah. He says here. He said, "An abundance shall be his deeds, and all his deeds perverse. But during its completion, the righteous shall be selected." You just said, "Don't no man come to me unless the Father draws him." You. He says, during its completion of the seventh week, Yahushua is going to begin to once again establish righteousness in that plant. He says, and the righteous shall be selected from the everlasting plant of righteousness. Listen, who is the everlasting plant of righteousness? Yahushua Mashiach. So after this perverse generation, because they have not had that. This is not what Christianity is. That's not what that is. That is not what that is. That's not what that is. Listen. Listen, that's not what that is. He says in Ezekiel 36 and 22, therefore, no, he says 23, and I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned amongst the heathen. Which was profaned amongst the heathen. They took his great Torah. They took his name, Yah, and Yah's salvation, Yahusha, and profaned it. They profaned it. Right? Because they changed it to Lord. Bam. But see, you need the Ruach of wisdom and revelation, because otherwise you ain't going to understand this. You need to be able to receive this in Emunah to the point in which you have been born again, and then Emunah receive the witness, and then ask you for your Ruach HaKodesh so he can begin to open this up to you. It was profane amongst the heathen. See, it wasn't that we took that word. They took that word that we had. They took the Torah and the Besorah. Right? 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 They took the New Testament letters that was a part of and listen. The New Testament is a beautiful thing, but other than the Besorah, the Gospels and the Acts, the letters are cliff notes. You got to reference resource. You got to reference the what Shaul is saying in Torah. Shaul taught them Torah. Yehukanan taught them Torah. Peter taught them Torah. He taught them Torah. He did not teach them the epistle of Timothy. No, he taught them Torah. And it was the cliff notes that he used, that he put in the letters that helped them to understand what they had been taught and what they needed to remember. Crazy. But you know what Christianity has done? Christianity has created a religion from the Besorahs, the Acts of the Apostles, right, and the Cliff Notes. Because the Revelations is in Daniel, it's in the prophets, it's in there. But it was Yehukanan that gave it. You better understand. You better understand this. Right? He says, I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned amongst the heathen, which ye have profaned. Right? You did it. You profaned it. When you denied my salvation. When you asked for Barabbas instead of my sanctified name. You profaned my name. The nation profaned my name. Those that did not receive my witness. Bunch of soft G4202 in the king's house. Soft G4202 of the scribes and the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Soft fornicators, adulterers, homosexuals, lesbians. G4202 Strong's Concordance Blue Letter Bible is in there. You did it. See, and this is Ezekiel prophesying, because Yahushua said concerning Yehukanan from the time of Yehukanan until now. This is the prophet. And this prophet Yehukanan is greater than all those. Greater only because of what his responsibility was in the scheme of things. Because they looked to Yahushua. They looked to Yehukanan, the voice of one crying in the wilderness. He says, you profaned it in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am Yahuwah. See, they're gonna know that they're gonna know that he Yahuwah. Why? Why is they gonna know? They've been lied to. They've been taught that Catholicism and Christianity was the way to heaven, and that the rapture was the end game. Full of the doctrines of men. Islam is a whole book of the doctrine of men. Judaism, the mitzvah. Sages felt that they need to interpret Torah. Right? Sages. Right? Roman converts. Edomites. Jephthah. Yahudah said to me, cry loud, spare not. Listen, you better hear the word of Yahudah. You better hear the word of Yahudah. Yahuda's trying to help somebody. The Yahudah. I'm trying to help everybody. He said, I'm trying to help everybody. He said, listen, O house of Yashno, he says, in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am Yahudah, saith Yahudah Alua. Right? They're going to know that I am Yahudah. Not the Lord. Not Baal. You're going to know that I am Yahudah. Because my name is Yahudah. My name ain't Baal. It ain't Yeshua. It's Yahudah. You're going to know my name is Yahudah. You're going to know my name is Yahudah. See, because you've been sold a better goods. You've been sold a bit of goods. You've been sold. And you kept paying for it. And they kept collecting. They kept collecting your tithes, and they kept collecting your offering. They kept taking it. They were buying them jets, buying them nice cars, and buying their nice houses. Become kings. And what's in the king's houses? What's in T.D. Jake's house? Soft. Where colors ascribed to a female. Adamite, soft, effeminate. That's in there. Strong's Concordance. That's in there. Matter of fact, just so you know, it's in there because I don't want no mess. Because I don't take no mess. Papa don't take no mess. He said, listen. He said, what's it, Matthew 11? He says, here we go. No, we gotta go up. He says in Matthew 11:8, but what went you out to see? A man in clothes and soft raiment. Soft raiment, okay? That's G, right? That's G 3120. G 3120. Malachas.
Strong's G 3120. Malachas.
Soft to the touch. Right? Soft to the touch. Right? Effeminate. Right? Soft to the touch. Right? Catamite. Right? Catamite. That's someone who has a man that has a sexual relationship with a boy that's in puberty. Just reaching puberty. Because, he's still soft. Listen! You can't make this stuff up. It's in the king's house. Who's sitting? A boy kept for homosexual relationships with a man. A male who submits his body to unnatural lewdness. A male prostitute. Can't make this stuff up. You're giving your tithes to these dogs that don't bark. These dogs sit up exalted in their pulpits as kings. But what's in their house? Soft raiments, pink shirts. Clothes and colors that are attributed to females. Soft. You know, because, you know, they promoting this softness. You know, softness. Catamounts. It's the king's house. He says, so it's G 3120. I ain't make it up. Strong's Blue Letter Bible. Catamite. Right? Now, he says it in reference to soft raiments. He says, they that wear soft raiment, clothing, are in the king's houses. The king's houses. See, this ain't that. This ain't that. This ain't that. And see, Yahudah in Ezekiel says, right? I'm going to sanctify my great name. Right? Right? I am going to sanctify my great name, which was profaned amongst the heathen. They profaned Yahuwah's name. They ascribed an image of a man who was soft, who was G 3120, effeminate. Cesare Borgia was the son of the Pope, and his son was a homosexual lover to Leonardo da Vinci, who commissioned the first painting. And he wanted that painting to be everywhere. And his son would go down. So let's make him the Pope. Let's make him the L of the Hebrews, of the Jews. Had sexual intercourse with his sister, G4202. Had sex with the king, G4202. They profaned his name. See, we profaned his name too. Because we were just as bad as them. But see what you was doing now, right? He says he's going to sanctify his great name amongst the heathen. Now, you know what that's going to require. That's going to require during the completion, 96th chapter of Enoch, the latter part of that 12th verse, during its completion, the righteous shall be selected from the everlasting plant of righteousness. Right. Because, it became darkened. Yahushua said it's going to become darkened. They said it became darkened. Perverse deeds, everything became darkened. See, and it's necessary that Yahuwah establishes this understanding, this universal, this great reveal of the people of Yahudah. The people of Yahuwah that have been scattered through the four corners. It is necessary because in this reveal, right, we gonna go home. see, we have to go back to the continent. Right? Now, we understand that all Israel ain't Israel. You know, you got these Hebrews, these Negroes that don't want no part of the continent, right? But that's fine. They can stay here. You know, look, I ain't mad at you. Do what you want to do. You know, you better be prepared for what's gonna come. But listen, do you? And again, the word that Yahudah gives to me are for the selected righteous from the everlasting plan of righteousness. So if you hearing me and it's resonating in you, that means Yahudah is selecting you as that plant of everlasting righteousness. This deception is so deep, right? It's so deep that men are going to hear the word of the truth and go deny it. Because they'd rather believe a lie than the truth. You know. Actually, this truth is going to be the new hate speech. The truth that I reveal concerning Christianity and the earth pig and Zeus and Baal and G3120 feminism and G4202 all strong blue letter Bible concordance references, homosexual pornonia, whole illicit sexual intercourse, they will all say, oh no, you're wrong. We gotta accept everybody. Accept it. It's gonna be new hate speech. I'm telling you, it's new hate speech now. Right? People are afraid to say the truth for fear of being prosecuted or persecuted. Listen, I'm a prophet of Christ now in spirit. Now I'm gonna say whatever Ruach gives me from the belly to say. You know, if that comes with what it comes with, it comes with it. Hallelujah. Think it not strange that these fiery trials that are among you, right? Yahushua says you got to be ready. But listen, that comes from being selected, that righteous selected from an everlasting plant. See, because what we have seen and witnessed ain't that. Bro, Yahuwah is waking you up, not just so that you understand Torah, but you got to go by way of the fulfillment of Torah, the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, who was king and priest, who was the lamb that was necessary for an atonement. You got to go through him. Everybody does. See, and it's that time. It's that time. It's that time. It's the time that Yahuwah is bringing forth righteousness from an everlasting plan of righteousness. It's a time in which he's revealing the sevenfold doctrine of creation. Right? He's revealing it line upon line, precept upon precept. And you got to go to Yasher. You got to go to Yasher, the Jasher, the Jubilees. You got to go to Maccabees. You got to go to Ezra. You got to go to the Ecclesiasticus. You got to go to these to be able to understand the full scope of what this is written. What's in this? What this is to us. This is culture. This is Hebraic. We got to get back to the continent. Listen, Judah is a lion's whelp. Right now, he says, he selected an everlasting plan of righteousness and to them shall be given the sevenfold doctrine of creation. They are going to be given this word, this Torah, this doctrine of creation. We go, listen. Yahudah is going to reveal by his Ruach HaKodesh things that have been hid. They're going to be, there's going to light that's going to go off. It's like an epiphany. It's a Ruach epiphany. It's that aha moment that you get in the Ruach HaKodesh. He says this, and afterwards there shall be another week, an 8th week, right? So now let's consider something, right? It's the time of perversion, right? Right? Began at the 7th week, right? Began at the 7th week, right? And at the completion of the 7th week, Yahudah establishes us righteousness in order to preach this witness, to bring about this Besorah, this Torah, right? Right? Because it became dark. Everything we see ain't that. Right? Just consider this, right? Right? So from the time of 70 AD up until now, right? When we're receiving and understanding the necessity of being born again, taking us, our Hebrew brothers and sisters, into the water, having them wash, and having their sins forgiven, and hopefully praying that they receive the Ruach HaKodesh, right, before they come up out of the water. Anywho, if we're doing this now, because they ain't done that then. And if when I say now, I mean now, as in the last 5 or 6 years, right? The way we do it, the way the shift has come, right? It means that Yahudah is selecting righteousness from an everlasting plan of righteousness, right? And these righteous seeds, these righteous that are selected with the Ruach HaKodesh, should be about Yahuwah's business, because what we've seen is not that. Now, if we know that we're looking at about 2,000 years, 2,000 years. Then it says, after that, in the 8th week, excuse me, a sword. After the 8th week of righteousness, because Yahudah, once he selected the righteous from an everlasting righteous, once we start to be born again of the water and of the Ruach HaKodesh, which he has instructed us to do in Hamashiach, that was lost. In 6 weeks, all those that are in it shall become darkened, and their hearts shall be forgetful for wisdom. They're going to forget what was presented to them in this witness in Yahushua Mashiach. Going to be forgetful of it. Going to be forgetful of wisdom. Right? But he says in that 8th week, the 8th week of righteousness, we become the righteousness of Yahudah. Right? We have become the righteousness of Yahudah in Emunah. Beloved, now we're the sons of Yahudah. We're sons because we are established in his righteousness. We are established in righteousness. Righteousness selected from an everlasting plan of righteousness is the beginning of the establishment of righteousness. But we have to continue to preach this Besorah, this Torah of truth, because our brother need to understand that they need to be born again, and Yahudah is the leader. They lead the way. Yahudah leads the way. They don't lead the way because, they lead the way because Yahudah left instruction. He said, listen, righteousness and the eighth of righteousness, because they have been selected, right? To which shall be given a sword to execute judgment. Sword to execute judgment. Right? Sword to execute. You know what? It's interesting, right? In the United States of America. And listen, everybody in America ain't a snake. That's the one. Listen, and everybody that is of the Caucasian persuasion that are in the United States aren't evil. The sad thing is they under a judgment because of them having come have come under this Christianity, this government, this. They gotta understand they was lied to, right? Because they was lied to too. They were lied to too. Hasatan is the father of lies. He's the king of sleight of hands. He does what he does to build his kingdom. Right? He does what he does to build a kingdom. And as long as he gets you in his kingdom, you good to him. You live in a lie. You don't know necessarily it's a lie. But at the end of the day, it's a lie. And you're going to realize that you've been lied to. See, the 8th week is a week of righteousness, which means that because we have accepted the witness of Yahushua Mashiach and have been born again, we have triggered the 8th week of righteousness. Right? We have come out of perversion. Right? We have come out of perversion. We've come out of perversion. We have come and recognized and heard his call. We have been selected. Many are called, but few are chosen. We have been selected or chosen in this plant of righteousness. Right? It's everlasting plan of righteousness. Right? It's the beginning of righteousness. It's the beginning of the weeks of righteousness. It's the beginning of the weeks of righteousness. He says, which shall be given a sword to execute justice. Again, what I was going to reference is that in the United States of America, right? Right? This whole issue with gun lobby and gun laws, right? And even in the Hebraic community, right? Right? We understand the importance of having a proficiency, right, in weaponry. I see Hebrews, and they don't know the Hebrews. I mean, some of them do. A lot of them do. They Hebrews, but I see them at the gun range teaching their kids gun safety, how to use a weapon, how to handle a weapon. And you got them people say, well, you don't want your kids to know how to use a gun. Listen, we Hebrews, we are Yahudah. Yahudah told us to do it. We have to do it. We put our kids at a disadvantage. Because we buy into this whole democratic Hasatan system. Because that's all rigged. That's rigged. That's rigged. They just want to get the guns out of your hands. Right? Because it gives them more control. But see, I got bruised. I see Bruce teach it. There's a TikTok page called not TikTok, Instagram page, Black Gun Owners, because you know I'm a Black Gun Owner, so you know I subscribe to them, you know, because you know I like to see what they're doing, you know, I like to see what they're doing. You know how many of our people have started have gotten licensed to train our people how to use firearms, men and women. How they've had classes for kids to teach kids firearms, taking them to the range and having them fire and understand what that is, teaching them gun safety, how and when and what they need to do fundamentally, and how they need to protect themselves. There's an Instagram a group called Survival. I think it's called Survival Sisters, right? This brother taught his girls how to shoot. Listen, he got I think 3 or 4 girls, and they are proficient. Probably shoot better than me. Because they get more range time in, right? But see, I don't worry about it because I got the rule of habitation, and you know, even if I ain't crooked, it's gonna go where it need to go. Cause in the rule of habitation, if I have to use it, it's gonna hit its target. It's going to hit its target. But listen, the idea is right. When our people become born again in righteousness and become established in this plan of righteousness, they are going to make up, their kids are going to make up those that are the righteous, that are giving a sword to execute judgment. Yeah, that's right. It's right, 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 it's right. He said, listen. He told he says, Yasher, the 56th chapter, the 7th verse, and I'm going, listen, this is me crying loud and sparing not, right? If you want to be a part of that righteous week, you better be born again of the water of the Ruach HaKodesh. And this is Jacob. This is Jacob speaking to Yahudah. This is a word that was given in the last days. Genesis 49:1. He says, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, and I might tell you that which will befall you in the last days. These are the last days. It was good that this stuff was recorded and written down, right? Because I would have had no knowledge of it. Because I was robbed and spoiled. Yasharal and Yahudah has been robbed and spoiled. But you know what, Yahudah knows how to get us back on track. Yeah. He'll find a way to put a gun in your hand and a sword. You know, and they want you to think that the majority of gun violence is amongst black people. When they have more guns and they do more violence. But what it is, they don't want you to fear. They don't want to have to fear you with a weapon. See, because there's one thing altogether for you to roll up on me and you got a weapon and I ain't got nothing. But it's another thing altogether for me to see you rolling up on me with a weapon at your side and I got one in my car, and when you go to point, I'm going to bust off you before you bust off me. See, they don't want you like that, Judah. See, but this is the week of righteousness. This is the 8th week of righteousness. The 8th week of righteousness commences once the seed of righteousness has been established. The people of righteousness are being established. If you notice, around this time, there's this influx of people of color getting their hands on weapons to defend themselves. But listen, at the end of the day, it's more than just you. Because see, when you leave, if you leave as that plan of righteousness, right, you still have a set of skills that will be available to be used once you get to the continent. Listen. You know, I know there's countries that you can't even have firearms in. I know that, but listen, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, and when we got to be on the hands of the neck of our enemies, in order to be on the neck of our enemies, right? We got to be with the brother. He says, Yahudah called his sons and said, gather yourselves together that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days. What's going to happen? I'll let you know, right? Gather yourselves together and hear ye, my sons. Hear, hearken, 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 hearken.
Strong's H, 8085. Shema.
Obey.
Second entry. Shemaiah.
Obey. Hear, listen. Obey. Right? So what he has said concerning us, we have to obey. Yahudah. We have to obey. Listen, he says concerning Yahudah, he says, 49 and 8, Yahudah, thou art whom thine brother shall praise. Your brother's going to praise you because you're going to come back to the continent with a set of skills, with some information about the colonizer, because you know how he is. You know his intentions. You know his devices. You know his schemes. You have lived through him for 400 years. You see how they want to ultimately destroy you, to keep you down. You know. And you're going to translate what you have over to them on the continent. Because you coming as Judah, right? You ain't just coming back at somebody who's trying to connect with his ancestral ruachs. You coming back as Yahudah. Because that's why we got to go back as Yahudah. We got to go back under the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. Because it's in that Ruach HaKodesh of Yahudah that one will put 1,000 to flight, two will put 10,000 to flight. It's in that Ruach HaKodesh of Yahudah. It's in that Ruach HaKodesh of Yahudah, that righteousness that you have received, right? That caused you to leap over troops. Cause your weaponry to be mighty. Excuse me. He said, keep going. He says, Yahudah, thou whom thy brother shall praise. Because you coming with a set of skills. Some of us coming with education. Some of us coming with work ethic and determination. Right? Some of us know game. We know game. We know game, man. Can't spit game on me, bro. Listen, I done been under the colonizer. Right? I studied weapons of war. I've had to defend myself against tyranny. thy hands in the neck of thine enemies. No. Yahudah's hands are going to be on the neck of his enemies. His brother's going to praise him. Right? His brothers ain't going to praise him here. How is my hand going to be on the neck of my enemies in Babylon? This ain't even my land. This ain't even my home. This ain't even my country. This ain't even my territory. This is not where I belong. How is my hands going to be on the neck of my enemies? How? Right? When Yahudah, when Yaakov told Yahudah, he says, your brethren shall praise thee. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children will bow down before thee. Why? Listen. It's not bowing down because you're beneath us. It's rejoicing and reverencing the sacrifice that Yahudah has made on behalf of the nation. They have taken the leadership. I'm not talking about running over countries. I'm not talking about coming up in countries and running them over. Because listen, everything is natural, right? Right? You have to understand there has to be a spiritual righteous component, a spiritual righteousness in the land, right? You know, some of y'all thinking that, well, you were going to gather us and bring us over to a place. We didn't have a little place. You will bring us over to the land, right? Right? When we get the opportunity to go to the land, right? It's not to go to the land and to be a separate entity from your brethren that make up the nation. It's all the tribes. It's the 12 tribes coming together and becoming one stick. See, because in one stickness, being one stick, right? It occurs because Judah has hands on the neck of his enemies, and he defends his brother against tyranny. He defends the tribes against tyranny. He positions himself to be the strength and the support of the nation, of the continent. I ain't talking about everybody in the continent, because you got some Hamites, and I'm talking about the 12 tribes. Everything from Sub-Sahara. Sub-Saharan on down. Sub-Saharan on down, right? So, when you understand, you say, okay, they're going to bow down. Why? Not because we got the big head. Not because I'm Yahudah. No, but because we are the righteous, selected from an everlasting plan of righteousness. And because we are here, right, Yahuwah is going to use us, right? He's going to use us to put our hands on the neck of our enemies. We know what the enemy is. We know him. We know his devices. We know his schemes. We know his trickery. We know. Listen, right. You got Europeans going over to the continent and buying up land, right? Putting up all kinds of stuff. You got a European getting on talking about how he got to tell his friends that the continent is the next best place to be. Yeah. Good luck with that. Because you got these continents, these countries. It's not going to be another South Africa. It's not going to be another apartheid. It's not going to be another, let's get a community over here and settle. No, it ain't going to be that. No. Because you know what? America is making it plain and clear. And all the rest of these nations are making it plain and clear by putting sanctions. Because we don't want to do what they want us to do. So they sanction us. Okay, so you know. Yahudah, it's a lion's whelp. Right? Right? Now, Yahudah, he says, Yahudah, thou to whom thy brethren thine praise, thy hand shall be on the neck of thine enemies, thy father's children shall bow down before thee, and Yahudah is a lion's whelp. Right? From the prey, right? Because you done already taken the neck of your enemies. From the prey, my son, thou hast gone up, right? You did what you needed to do. You got your hands all filthy and blood, mouth. You done ripped your enemy up to pieces, right? Right? Judah. Again, this illustration about a lion, right? When a pride attacks, he attacks and he takes it down. One of them get the neck, especially if it's a water buffalo, and then the other one jump on it. Any other way, I done seen them try to take down a giraffe. But that was dangerous because them giraffes, they some vicious things. But they might have been, they're not vicious, but they legs is powerful. One kick and you done, right? So that's a risky move. Water buffalo makes more sense, right? But even with that, you ain't gonna go up against a water buffalo by yourself, because see, water buffaloes are smart too. You attack a water buffalo by yourself, guess what? You're gonna have some water buffaloes running up on you. Yeah, they're gonna run up to you 3 or 4 of them deep, and they some big things. And a lion ain't stupid. He ain't gonna get trampled by the water buffalo over being a soul hunter, right? But they generally go in prides. They attack, they eat, they do what they need to do, right? 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 Yahudah's a lion's whelp. It's pride. Yahudah's a lion's whelp, right? He says, thou hast gone up, thou stooped down, thou hast crouched as a lion, and as a old lion, who's going to rouse him up? He done did what he needed to do. The scepters come. Shiloh's come. Yahushua Mashiach has come. Because see, you got to understand what Yaakov is saying when he says on the next day in Yashar 56, again, he called his sons, and they all assembled and came to him and sat before him. And Yaakov on that day blessed his sons before his death. Each man did he bless according to what he blessed. Now we're going to jump down to the 8th verse. And then he says, Yaakov said unto Yahudah, I know, son, that thou art a mighty man. Yahudah's a mighty man. That's why they took us over. That's why the majority of us are of the tribe of Yahudah, because they took us from Yahudah land. The majority of who they took from a place that had been established as a penal colony. They took those who had what's that word I'm looking for? Who had been in that area, right? Right. Because they know what they were. Knew what kind of men they were. Knew what kind of women they were. Right? Right? Mighty men and your brethren. He says, mighty men for your brethren. See, listen, Yahudah. Listen, Yahudah. Scattered through the 4 corners of the earth. You're mighty men for your brethren. See, when you outside of the continent, you leave your brother at a disadvantage. Yes, there's Yahudah on the continent, but when the diaspora, Yahudah returns, because they have to return, right? Your brother going to be whom you praise. It has to happen. It has to happen. Yeah, it has to happen. It has to happen. Ron Dalton. It has to happen. Right? Now, I'm going to tell you, you got to go over. You need to go over in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. You need to be born again in the water of Ruach HaKodesh, or you're going to fall prey to you know, all that ancestral stuff, and you started, you know, you got some ancestors that's shaking bones and, you know, and you know, doing witchcraft, you know, that ain't you. You know, yeah, you may have some ancestry there, but that ain't you. Not if you've been born again in the water, Ruach HaKodesh. That's not what we do. That's not what we do, Yahudah. It's not what we do. It's not what we do. It's not what we do. Right? Right? So, you need to understand what it means to be Judah and going back to the land. You know, we ain't Judah going back to the land. Right? Yeah, we got skills. Yeah, but, you know, we Torah only. Nah, You gotta address that. You gotta deal with that. Yeah, because you know, listen. And, you know, just because you go back to the continent, right? We ain't trying to bring Babylon to the continent. You know, we ain't trying to bring Babylon to the continent. I ain't trying to bring all the Babylon's, the ways of the heathens to the continent. The ways of the heathen ain't righteous. I ain't trying to take that over to the continent. I don't even want people who want to go to the continent, who want to bring evil from the continent to the continent. I don't want that, man. No. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I don't need Mickey Minaj on the continent. No. Let us stay over there with a devil-possessed self. I don't need Beyonce on the continent. Let that witch stay over in the United States of America. Her and her warlock husband. Let them stay over there. See, because Judah's the lion's whelp. And from the prey, we going up. I don't want that on the continent. I really don't. Nah, I don't know how much I can really control much of that. I mean, we can't, but at the end of the day, it's about righteousness. It's about Yahudah going home. And Yahudah is not everybody from the United Snakes of America who want to live wickedness. You know, you got bruised. You got bruised that, you know, come to the continent and, you know, they passport bros. You know, the Negroes only interested in smashing. No, I don't want your filthiness over here. No. Listen, I'm not saying there's wrong with being a brother with a passport and finding and going to different continents and exploring and enjoying yourself, but not at the point of not the exploitation. You know, not the exploitation. You know, no, I ain't talking about manipulating nobody. You know, just because, you know, you American bro, you got a little something. No, that's wicked. Wicked. No. So, I'm not against bros. I love my bros. Look, brothers, Hebrews, look, get them passports. You're gonna need a passport to come over to the continent. You're gonna need a visa eventually, stay. But you gonna need you gotta have one. I got a passport. And if you Hebrew and you don't got one, you better be getting one. You better be looking to get one. You know, and you might want to get it expedited. You know, you might want to pay the extra to get it expedited. He says, Yaakov, son, you know thou art mighty unto your brethren, reign over them, and your sons shall reign over their sons. No. Understand. You have to understand the context of reign. Reign is leadership. Reign is leadership, right, by submission, right? It is not tyranny. It is not the torrential rule that you see in some of these African countries. That's not this. This is not that. This is not that. He says, this is to be done forever. So, you know, if this is supposed to be done forever, then even in the Americas, we still need to go back to where the 12 tribes are our brethren to fulfill the prophecy that Yahudah spoke through Yaakov, Israel, to us. We have to understand this 8th week of righteousness. And you know what? Listen. I'm going to finish something. I'm going to say something else real quick. He says, Only teach your sons the bow and all the weapons of war. See, now Christianity doesn't promote that. They promote this soft Jesus, this love Jesus. To take a slap, and get slapped on one side and get slapped on the other. No, Yahushua wasn't talking. Yahushua was talking to Hebrews about brothers. Hebrews. He wasn't talking about these Gentiles. He wasn't talking about these other nations. He wasn't talking about them coming and snatching us up and taking us to slavery. We're supposed to fight for that. No, you ain't. No. That's Christianity. See, Yahushua was talking about the Hebrew culture. In Hebrew culture, your brother was always to be upheld before you. And it's not even just because you're biologically, physically attached, but in the tribe system, you were still considered brethren. You were still considered family, right? You may have been Ephraim and I may have been Judah, but we are family. I am to come and fight for you and defend for you. If my brother takes my coat, give him my other one. Look, let me give you my other one. Because we Hebrews. We 12 tribes. That's what Yahushua would talk about. That's what Yahushua was talking about. That's what Yahushua was talking about. He was talking, see, and again, you got to understand this text in relationship to the people he was talking to. Matthew was Hebrew. He was writing in reference to Hebrews. He was writing stuff that Hebrews understood. He understood. It's Hebraic culture. It's a Hebraic way. It's a Hebraic way. He said, teach your sons the weapons of war, in order that they may fight the battles of their brethren who will rule over their enemies. Listen, man, we got brews that have had military service. They understand war. You gotta understand that, if you think you are gonna camp out here in the United States of America, then good luck with that. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because this ain't that. And your code gave us instructions. Yahudah gave you a code of instructions to give to us for the last days. For the last days. Right? Now. Right? We already know Yahudah's hand's going to be on the neck of his enemies, right? We already know that Yahudah is who his brothers shall praise, right? Right? We understand in Enoch, he says, after there shall be an 8th week of righteousness. The righteous week begins at the point in which the selected righteous from an everlasting plan of righteousness. Those who are born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh and the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, not Jesus. This is not that. Right? That begins the week of righteousness. Right? Right? But that week, right? Because when you consider week in terms of length of time, right? Because you got to put it in perspective, right? The week here, in perspective to time, even from the time of the 7th week, from the perverse generation until the reveal of the everlasting righteous plants selected, right? You're talking about, if you go to the point where Titus Vespasian started in with the whole push of this Christianity, you're still talking 2,000 years. I said, well, we don't have that long. I don't know how long we have, but I know this, right? The week of righteousness, right? And after that week of righteousness, right, he says, a sword shall be given to execute judgment and justice upon the oppressor. Who did he say was going to be on the neck of their enemies? Yahudah. execute justice and judgment and justice on all oppressors. Right? Right? So Yahudah's gonna be, hands gonna be on the neck of his enemies. Right? Right? Sinners shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous. It's gonna be all out. Listen, they're gonna come on. Listen, look at these nations. Once we get to the continent, and once we start moving as one on this continent with the nations on the continent, right? These other nations are going to become hostile, and they're going to come after us. Come after us, man. They're going to come after us. But see, the righteousness of us, right? Righteousness of us is going to be the catalyst in the victory. Because we fulfill Yahuwah's, we fulfill what Yahuwah had commanded us from us in the last days. I don't know how long that's going to be. I know right now I need to get out of Babylon. I know my prayers is Yahuwah, show us how to get out of Babylon. Yahuwah, move in the hearts of whoever you need to move in to get what we need. Because we're expecting a day of Yahuwah here in Babylon. I ain't trying to live through no day of Yahuwah here at Babylon. I'm looking to leave Babylon. Much like Ezra and the children during Ezra's time left Babylon. Now Yahuwah gonna still do what he need to do to shake the minds of those that are around these other nations, to get them to understand they need to move in the direction of going, and let's go. Because listen, they gave us what we wanted when we left Mitzrayim. They always give us what we need when Yahuwah says it's time for us to go. Pharaoh's soul said, just go ahead and take your people. And people's like, oh, yeah, you can take that, you can have this, you can have that. Oh, just take it, just go. Just go, just go. Well, we going to the continent, right? We ain't going over there. We ain't going over there. Look, they got so much going on over there. We ain't going over there. That ain't even where we need to be. Oh, no. We going to go to the continent. Even though that is still originally a part of the northern part of the continent. You know, we ain't going there. That ain't where we going. That's what carpenters is for. Man, if y'all want, y'all listen. This thing is real. It's real. You better, you have to understand that Yahuwah has things for us to do, right? We are that righteous, selected from an everlasting plan of righteousness. He has given us, made available to us, the sevenfold doctrine of creation. Right? We understand what's going on, and he's revealing it even more, right? Which again begins because we're established as righteous now, the 8th week of righteousness. I ain't trying to stay here. I ain't trying to stay here. And whatever you will do for me, I'm gonna do for somebody else. I'm gonna try to get as many people as I can out. Don't ask me how, I don't know. Yahuwah knows, but we get out. Yeah, if you're righteous, you love Yahuwah, and you have his Ruach HaKodesh, and you understand that you need to go. What? Look, we need to be about this. And listen. If you are of the other nations, and you've been born again of the water of Ruach HaKodesh, right? You can go too. Yeah, you can go too. Oh, yeah, you can go too. You know, I don't want to leave you in Babylon. I want to leave you in Babylon. There's a big multitude that left Jerusalem. I mean, left Mitzrayim. Man, if y'all want me, y'all, we're going to stop there. I praise Yahudah for his Ruach HaKodesh. I praise Yahudah for the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. And man of Yah, woman of Yah, I'm about this. I be about this. I'm going to be about this until Yahushua come. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this until I can't do it no more. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to give it to you the way the Ruach HaKodesh gives it to me. Right? And he gives it to me at the point in which he gives it to me. Hallelujah. That's the truth. You know. And I trust him every time I open my mouth that he's going to speak by his Ruach HaKodesh. Right? He may give me some scriptures, but he's going to give me what he wants to be said because he know I'm going to open my mouth and say it. And I ain't going to hold back. Yahudah, I thank you for the words that you have given me to give to them, and I pray that they would receive them in Emunah. Yahudah, again, I pray that the words that I speak would not cause anyone to stumble, anyone to be turned out of the way, anyone to come up lame. Yahudah, I speak a word of truth, and I speak the word of truth by the Ruach HaKodesh, trusting in the Basor, the Torah of truth, to reveal all things. Yahudah, I know that this is for those that you have selected, that righteous, selected from the everlasting plan of righteousness, that's going to go in the 8th week of righteousness. Yahudah, I pray right now that you would bring a means and a method for us, Yahudah, to leave Babylon and unite with our brethren on the continent. Yahudah, find ways. You open doors, make paths. Yahudah, whatever is necessary to cause us to be able to go back home. And Yahudah, we want to take only those who want to go. If you don't want to go, stay back here. You can have Babylon. I don't want her. Yahudah, in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, I pray. Let the words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, Yahudah, my strength and my redeemer. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness, woman of Yahudah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, today Yahudah has favored you. Listen, understand this, right? Babylon, we expected them to go. I look every day for a way to go. What do we need to do, Yahudah, to go? You know, this migration may be a great migration and everybody leave at one time. And then again, it may not be. But at the end of the day, he gonna give you an opportunity to go. You know, like even in Ezra's day, everybody didn't want to go. Because everybody didn't want to do what it takes to make the sacrifice. Some of them had to get rid of their foreign wives and children. In order to serve the capacity that you had called Levi to serve. It's going to cost something. And you're going to be willing to make the sacrifice. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness, woman of Yahudah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Today Yahudah has favored you. May Yahudah bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. And may you understand the importance of being born again of the watering of the Ruach HaKodesh. Because without it, you will not see, you will not enter in to Yahuwah's kingdom. You will not experience Shiloh, tranquility, and rest. And your hands won't be on the neck of your enemies. Your neck will be, their hands will be around your neck. So, with that I say, shalom, 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 and be blessed.
Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.